what life is going to be like in 5 years. More crowded for a start. A little bit more crowded. More polluted. But probably not too different.
What about in 7 years?
Probably a little bit more crowded and polluted than 5 years.
What about in 10?
I think in 10 years things will be starting to look... the aesthetic will have changed.
So that'll be 2010.
Yeah, things will be different shapes. But I don't think life's going to be too different in 10 years.
20?
20 years, I think things are going to be different in the way we use technology and the way that we communicate with each other is going to be changing more dramatically after 20 years.
And what about 5 years after that? So 25 years.
Yeah, I think technology is going to be pretty awesome by then. I think we're going to be maybe communicating in a completely different way that hasn't been thought of so far. I think that the main difference is going to be the information, how information is passed between people. Maybe we'll have developed some form of non-verbal communication by then.
So if you look back 25 years earlier to now, do you think it's changed that dramatically that it will leap again 25 years from now?
Oh, it'll leap more so.
Okay.
I think we live in an accelerating culture. The rate of change is speeding up all the time. The difference between now and 25 years' time is going to be far more dramatic than the difference between 25 years ago and now.
And do you think it's apocalyptic after 2000?
No, 2000 is just a number that we decided on. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a nice round figure for a good party.
Okay, what about 35 years?
In 35 years?
10 years on from the acceleration of 25.
I don't know, I think... Well, I'm going to be around. Things are maybe going to be starting to get quite scary then. In 35 years, that's long enough for the population to be much bigger than it is now.
Right, now what's life in the world going to be like in 50 years? 2050.
In 2050?
You'll be...
I'm going to be old.
70 something.
I'm going to be in my 70s. Well, I hope it's going to be nice and peaceful, but I don't think it will be. I don't know, people are probably going to be listening to some pretty damn slamming music by then. I just want to know what the kids will be listening to when I'm 70. What a thought. 'Cause if we listen to the music that our grandparents listened to, it seems so square. So I just want to see what kids are going to be dancing to when I'm 70. I think that's going to be fun. I don't know, it's going to be... I have a feeling it's going to be faster, and I don't know.
Is it going to be like movies?
I think life's going to be less natural. I think we're going to move further and further away from the natural world. We're going to be living in more of an abstract way from nature. We're going to be probably eating less and less natural foods and eating more and more sort of engineered foods that probably sort of will need to save space with growing stuff, and anything grown will be indoors, hydroponics, that sort of thing. No fields, it'll all be taken over by too many buildings and things. I think cars are going to be fast. If we're still allowed to drive cars, they're going to be fast in 70 years. If you think 70 years ago, cars were really slow. In 70 years' time, they're going to be hauling. They're going to be really moving. That's going to be kind of interesting. I don't know.
What about 100 years?
In 100 years?
Do you think the world will be recognisable to people now?
Will it be recognisable? I don't think separate cities and separate towns are going to exist anymore. I think it's just going to be a huge metropolis. Or maybe in 100 years they'll start moving people out to space. Maybe we'll have managed to colonise some other parts of the solar system by then. And some people will be able to move off Earth, whether they want to or not. I don't know. Maybe there'll be like instead of having rich parts of town and poor parts of town, you'll have like rich planets and poor planets, and it'll be just the really rich people that can afford to still live on Earth, or maybe the rich people want to get the hell off here because it's just going to be so polluted and fucked up and everything else. I don't know. Be interesting. I think 100 years things are going to start happening pretty rapidly. Things are going to happen pretty rapidly. I think if the population keeps on growing that much, in 100 years we're going to have to seriously start using different fuels. We can't carry on burning fossil fuels. Definitely. I mean, it'll run out by then. I don't know. Maybe the electricity will be used a lot more, and we'll come up with new ways of generating it. Yeah, I think much more things will be electric, and instead of burning fossil fuels, we'll come up with new ways of generating electricity. And it'll just literally run transportation, entertainment, everything.
What's the entertainment going to be like?
Totally personal. Totally personal, interactive. Entertainment's getting more and more interactive. People are wanting to have more control over their entertainment all the time. And it started out with just having more control over like the sound, and more control over the picture, and more different channels to watch or whatever. So I think also it's going to take over the senses a lot more. It'll be kind of direct plug-in, instead of just sight and sound, you'll be able to actually plug in emotions and feelings, and it'll be you'll actually be able to get them sort of wired directly in. You stick a headset on, and
it's almost happening now, even.
Yeah.
So in 100 years.
In 100 years, I think it's going to be. I don't know. I think it's going to be fairly common to just stick the headset on and escape. Virtual reality isn't virtual reality now, is it? I mean, it's a nice idea, but written about by science fiction freaks, but it's not really virtual reality. It's just two little TV screens strapped to your head. It'll be virtual reality when smells and emotions are electronically triggered in your brain, externally triggered. You can just sort of plug in and sense what somebody else has experienced. You should be able to record sensations through emotions, through electrical currents.
That's a nice idea.
It could be, but you don't think it'll just create this kind of people will just be living in these false worlds, They'll just be sort of plugging in to block out, and it's going to be the ultimate drug.
What about 500?
Who knows? I mean, if you look at 500 years ago, you take somebody from 500 years ago to now, they wouldn't have a fucking clue what was going on. And things are going, in the last 500 years, culture's been accelerating. So you look at it in the next 500 years, it's going to be accelerating so fast that who knows? I mean, it's so hard to make a prediction. I think people will be maybe communicating almost on a telepathic level. I think the main, communication has to change, and whether that's assisted or not, whether people will be communicating telepathically with some sort of electronic boosting assistant, something that reads your brain patterns and translates them into somebody else's mind. But I don't know. But that's quite foreseeable within 500 years. And if that happens, you get enough people wired up, you're starting to talk super consciousness. You'll have human beings acting as more than the sum of their parts.
That's a good thing or a bad thing?
Who knows? 500 years, who knows what's happened? If we're still alive in 500 years, I would hope that we've got the sense to look after ourselves properly. But it's almost like if communication increases as fast as I think it might in 500 years, we as human beings are almost going to become our own god. We're going to become so intelligent because we'll be able to directly link each individual human mind into one super computer. It's like going to be the ultimate neural network. Forget the internet. That's just plugging your computer in. It's like if you can plug your own brain into the internet, what have you created? You've created an enormous human brain. You've created this super all-powerful being. It's almost like being omnipotent across the planet Earth. It's like Gaia or something. It's like the living creation. I don't know. That's 500 years is, and also I think that I think by then the whole will have drastically run out of all the mineral resources that we need to survive. I don't see how we'll be able to after we've recycled everything. We'll have dug up everything out of the earth that we possibly can. So unless we're sort of tapping into the into the molten magma to get the mineral elements out of that. I think we're going to be out in space. We're going to be looking for some mining things in space and building things in space by mining and extracting the elements we need from space. There's no way you can sort of, I think definitely things are going to be happening. We're going to be colonizing other planets, but you can't sort of ship millions of tons of aluminium up into space. You're going to have to mine it and produce it in space. So everything's going to shift off the Earth in 500 years.